Well, the wait is finally over. After over 12 years or so, we're finally getting Victoria 3. The meme is no longer valid. Now we gotta say, how much longer till Victoria 4? So yeah, it was just announced today on Steam too. So we have to wait till whenever it comes out. Whenever that will be. Maybe this year, maybe in 2022 or not. Now, I have a whole bunch of things to say. Now, unfortunately, when I saw the screenshots, I wasn't really impressed with what I saw. And I actually got a couple of them, too. And yeah, I know people are like, it's the early footage and under development. Be patient with it. I know that. But that doesn't mean it still looks good. Like, I just don't really like this setup they got so far in terms of the map. I really don't like it when all the games have, like, topographic maps or whatever where it shows like the terrain, the environment and stuff like that. I'd rather it be just like political map from the start. That's me. And this just doesn't look right to me. I wish they showed the entire world because I would like to see, because it's only this map and one of like China and Vietnam. So on this page it looks like a state tab like on Vicky3, although it's kind of confusing to see what it is though. Like, infrastructure, like, has its own tab. Infrastructure usage, I guess there's, like, a limit to how you're going to have to keep upgrading infrastructure for it to be usable. Market access, GDP, like, what's all that stuff supposed to mean? And there's buildings. There's normally only 3 buildings. That's, naval bases, forts, and railroads in Vicky3. So I want to know what the hell all that is. And, of course, the population tab. I'm assuming turmoil is the game's equivalent to militancy and unrest in the region. And I see, like, looks like a somewhat of a pie chart. That's another thing too. I hope they have pie charts in here instead of like actual percentages. I want to see my pie charts from Vicky3. I guess it's showing like a certain percentage of how much the pops in that state are struggling. I see a population of 1.86 million. I'm assuming that's for that state in Ireland, and how much it's going up and decreasing with migration and all that. So I hope they explain this better, or I'm updated, because I'm not really liking that design so far. And then here was the next map showing like China and Vietnam. Like I said, I wish they showed like a political map, like the country's colors instead of like topographics. But on this market where they're playing China, it shows the 5 most underproduced goods and the most overproduced goods, which is just like in Vicky3. But I think as I'm loading up the game right now, yeah, in Vicky2, it only shows the top 5 most produced goods. Doesn't show underproduced. Hey, that actually could be interesting. That way I know, okay, I'm producing not enough of this, so I can focus like on factories and production, RGOs, and all that. The one thing I'm definitely not liking here, though, is trade routes. I guess that means now, oh god, please don't bring the trade nodes from like EU4, please. That's one thing I don't like in EU4 compared to Vicky2. Please don't bring it in here, because I can already see that will probably limit the economy aspect of this game. Please don't bring that on here. And then on this politics tab, which looks like institutions tab, which kind of reminds me a little bit of policies on EU4, which I hope I can actually use them on here, unlike in EU4 pretty much. I guess you gain points, which you can use to implement policies. Like on this one, I have to zoom in a lot. For colonial affairs, 40% colonial growth generation speed multiplier. I guess that means how much pops will increase, or migration, or the economy. Social Security, that's a thing, which is a thing somewhat in Vicky2, like pensions and all that. Workplace safety regulations, which is in Vicky2 as well. Looks like it also controls how many people die, because in Vicky2, work requirements and safety requirements do not increase pop growth. That's just healthcare. Education, I see 20% education access. Maybe it's like efficiency. 20% conversion, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, and then 20% devout political strength, whatever that means. Law enforcement, that's new. I guess controls the militancy of radicals and all that, but some of the stuff I don't know about. I really do hope that sometime soon, before the game comes out, they need to make like a beta, a demo or something for anyone to be able to play. Not like have it where, only like certain people can play. No, I want to be able to try a demo of this game when it's available. I should be able to, because I'm really curious to see what it's about. That way I can get a good idea or not if I want to get the game or not, because I'm going to get to that in a moment. And then this was the overview page, which one of the things I'm going to bring up later in the video is things I want Vicky3. This is one of them I would like, and it's on here, thankfully. Looks like each country has their own ruler, like a leader, like in EU4, with maybe personality traits, since it doesn't show anything else, which is pretty damn cool, I must say. And looks like each faction of like pops, which have their own like needs and wants, are on here as well. Now, of course, what do they do otherwise? I have absolutely no idea. Like I said, demo please, ASAP. Or better yet, do like an actual like playthrough of your game as you make it, so we can see exactly what is going on, what you're doing, and all that crap. But that was it for all the pitches I know about that I got. Now, before I get to what I want, I need to make this abundantly clear. Do not, and I repeat this, do not pre-order the game, and do not instantly get it when it comes out. And I'm saying this as a huge fan of Vicky3 that's been waiting for a long time for this to come out. Don't get it immediately when it comes out. Wait for it to come out. Don't pre-order it. Wait for reviews. Wait for videos and stuff for that to come out first before you decide or not. Because I remember on all the Paradox and Vicky3 servers I am on Discord, people screaming and yelling, oh god, it was so annoying earlier today, how much they are going to pre-order the game as soon as they're able to. They're going to get the game, like, no matter what. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Why would you get a game that might possibly be crap for all we know? I mean, does everyone just all of a sudden seem to forget how Paradox Interactive fucked up EU4 with the Leviathan DLC? Anyone remember that? Fuck the patches for that DLC, which I didn't even get yet. They fucked up the game for me, so now I can't play it on my Alienware laptop. It runs too damn slow. And even when I downgrade to a previous version of the game, it's still too slow. So it's fucked up the game. It's over, like the most recent DLC for EU4 is like overwhelmingly negative reviews and all that. Paradox is on a very, very bad spot right now. So why would you just say, oh, I'm going to get the game no matter what? Why not wait, see what it is first? Because Paradox does not deserve the benefit of the doubt. They need to show that they're going to not fuck it up first. So please, wait for the game to come out first. Watch playthroughs. Look at reviews and all that, and see for yourself then if it's good or not. Because guess what? I'm not going to get Vicky3 when it comes out. For all I know, I might not get it at all. I'm going to wait and see first. That's why, like I said earlier, I want there to be a demo release of this game first. Or like a trial or something. Because I want to try it out first before I buy it. Or get it. I don't want to get the game if I think it's going to be crap. So, please, just wait. And Paradox, please release a demo of this game when you can. Alright, now that that's out of the way, now I'm going to get into what I want in Vicky3. I mentioned this in a video 2 years ago. I did a video of what I want in Vicky3. I mean, what I don't like about Vicky3 and what I want changed about if they ever did a Vicky3, or if they make a mod for Vicky3 that I don't know about or someone can do, possibly. And here it is. I'm going to redo it with a whole bunch of new stuff added to it. So, here we go. Alright, I'm now in Vicky3. Now, of course, I'm going to get through all the original things I wanted in my video of 2 years ago, since it's been a while since I've talked about them, before I get into the new things I've added, because I've added 50 things I want to see in Vicky3 or a mod for Vicky2 in the future. So anyways, the first thing I talked about in the original video, because these are the first things I'm going to talk about, is I want factories to be able to have a simple button to press to upgrade them all. Like, as you see right here, when you point on the button that allows you to upgrade factories, you can hit Control-click, which upgrades all factories of this type which are near their employment level, or Shift-click. I want to be, what it does is, it does it based upon the limit, the same employment status of other factories. So, if I press Shift-click, it's only going to upgrade factories that have about this amount of craftsmen and clerks in it. I want to be where I just press on, it just upgrades all the factories all at once, as long as I have the money to do it. None of this bullshit, as, let me turn on the game speed. I love when I press pause and it doesn't fucking pause. As I wanted to show you what I'm talking about. I need to save money really quickly, though. Sorry, peasants, deal with your high tax and tariff and yada 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 yada, all that. God damn, it's like so expensive. Why won't... Wait, I got the money for it. Oh, excuse me, because of the stupid political parties. Oh, stupid laissez-faire. I should have checked that before because I'm an idiot. Alright, now, let's see. So, like, let's see, shift-click. Okay, that time it did a whole bunch because I had the money, but, like, I want it to be where it upgrades every single factory all in one button. Not this, we'll only upgrade factories if they're the same, like, employment status. No. All at once. And I have to keep modding. I mean, make an edit to the game in order for me to do it, but I have to turn it off afterwards because it won't be able to, I won't have the same checksum as others if I play MPs with them. So that's one thing I want. Number 2, I want militancy to go down when pops get what they want. Like, I've had so many times in this game, it's actually more about, like, political, parties, not political parties, people with, ideologies not getting what they want, where I give them what they want, and they still revolt. Like, I've had numerous times where I'm like a communist government, but I still have a massive communist uprising. I'm sure, like, yeah, you're communist and all, but we want a communist dictatorship, not a communist democratic state. When I give them when I'm the political party they want, they need to just go away. Go away. Don't pop up ever. And then I want them to be, when they get the stuff they want, they go away. Not stay around. Because I remember, oh god, I remember my Burma game on the Sir Light mod, like 2 years ago. I literally had every single reform, and people were still revolting for some reason. Like, the militancy was not going down. It kept going up, even though it actually said the estimated monthly change of militancy was going down, like in the green right there. So, I don't get it. So when pops get what they want, I want them to stop revolting and stay happy. And when my government is the ideology of their liking, they need to just accept it and stop revolting. Alright, then the next thing was, I want a buff for the immigration national focus. So for some reason, it's only a 20% buff, but for some reason, this, even in, like, New World states, it doesn't seem to be really effective. I remember trying it on my, America GSG Vicky mod playthrough of 2017 to 18, and even that, it didn't really seem to do much. My folk did on all 7 of my least populated colonies at the time in America. So I want it to be an actual buff too. And I think I'm going to get to this later, but I'm going to add right here too. I also want it to be possible so you can get immigrants everywhere in the world. I don't want it to be just, oh, the Americas and Australia get immigrants. I want everywhere in the world to be able to get some sort of immigration. Because it's bullshit that even when you give them all the reforms you want, like in Europe and everywhere else, people still leave because America, that new world migration bonus, that's unbeatable. So allow non-Americans in Australia to get immigrants too. Alright. Sphere work. Oh yeah. Another thing I said is I want spheres to be edited a little bit. It was mostly about, like, in, let me go switch over to Turkey really quickly. Because the main thing I was talking about was Turkey. So let's see, like, Persia. Like this right here. I want it to be where this, like, nation is on another continent penalty is gone when you're bored with them. When you're bored with them, you should not have this penalty, for example. I want a lot of the penalties, like, removed because I think they're horseshit. Why the hell should, like, Turkey, for example, have a penalty to cop the sphere Persia when they're literally bordered with each other? There should be a border bonus, if anything. It's just stupid. But that was, like, the only thing in terms of sphere. And, oh, then the next one. This one, I know for a fact, is done on the New World Order mod. I'm sure maybe if I check the Cold War Enhancement mod. But I want it to be where navies are debuffed and not allowed to get as much points as they are. Like, we can't really see it right here because it's Turkey, but let me go over back to the British since they have the biggest navy. Alright, check. Military power. Okay, it's not really showing it right here, but normally in Victoria 2, you get massive, massive military power points from having big ships at the end of the game. Let me go check out the Navy really quickly. Like these right here. Like if you build dreadnoughts and battleships near the end of the game, they produce so much points that even if you have just a few of them, you could easily become the #1 military power in the world. They are overinflating and are not really that used a lot. So I want to be flipped where the army gives you all those points, not your navy. Your navy should never give you that much points that you can easily be #1. I've literally gotten countries to the #1 military power just by having a whole bunch of dreadnoughts and battleships, and I think that is just straight up horse shit. Now, and I know that's possible to fix in Victoria 2 because I have mods, or I've seen and used mods that do flip that around, like the New World Order mod where having more troops gives you more points. So I want that to be fixed. Alright, so then, oh yeah, another thing too is I want all ships to give you military points. It's only capital ships, like, heavy ships that give you points, like dreadnoughts, battleships, ironclads, monitors, even though I flip them around, and man of wars. I want every single ship to give you some sort of points. Because in the end, they are a navy. They're still ships that attack and all that, even like transport and small ships. We should still get points for them. And I honestly would like if they got rid of transport ships and make it that every single ship could transport troops. Because, I mean, all those ships in real life do transport hundreds of troops in the world. So I don't know why they can't be usable instead. Alright, so then the next one was, I want states to be easier made. I mean, I want to be able to have colonies turn to states much more easier. Because normally in order to turn a colony into a state, as go over up here, like go out here, like this province right here, in order to turn a colony into a state, you need to have at least 1% bureaucrats of your accepted cultures in order for it to become a state. And then of course you need colonial points, a lot of them, in order to fund it too. Make it a little bit easier to be able to turn colonies into states. Because there's a lot of places, especially like very populated regions like India and China and all them, that straight up just will never be able to be turned into states in the time being if you colonize them as civs. I mean, uncivs. Make it possible so you can do that. And then, oh yeah, the next one is, I want the battle score in a war to go up to 100%. It's capped at 50%. I want to go up to 100% where you can just keep winning battles over and over and over again, and you can just max out to 100% and then end the wars much easier. Because that is a very good exploit that I do in the game, where I just win a few battles, get up to 50% war score, and then win just like that. I want to be able to keep going up to 100%. Alright, then the next one was, oh yeah, religion needs to have a buff. Religion needs to be actually usable, because in Victoria 2, religion literally has no value whatsoever. Each country has a state religion, which you don't even get to see it, I think, in the game normally. I don't think it even tells you your religion. You have to go into the save file and the files itself to see it. I want to be where you can actually, where religion has some value to it. You can actually see your national religion, I mean your state religion. It should have some sort of impact, like in EU4. And you should be able to change your state religion to whatever you want, anytime you want, pretty much like in EU4. They should actually do something, and you should be able to change it. And then the next one, oh yeah, same thing for religion too. Cultures. Cultures should be able to be acceptable. I mean, promoted and demoted, like in EU4, where you can literally change the culture to whatever you want. You can make, like the British right here. Like, the British is the primary culture of the UK, and Anglo-Canadian is the accepted one. What if I wanted to flip it where Anglo-Canadian is the accepted culture, primary culture, and the British are accepted? Or if I don't want either of them to be the primary culture accepted? What if I want someone else in? You should be able to change it to whatever you want. Like, I'm literally doing a simulation mod playthrough game where I'm playing France. I colonized all of Japan, where someone gave me a dare to colonize Japan as France. I want to do a game where, like, Japan is like French culture and stuff like that, and other things like that. I want to be able to change that, do that. And another thing is, assimilation should be easier. Unless you are have a very good economy, and have full of citizenship, which gives a 25% buff. And then if you're in the New World, which gives another massive buff. It's really difficult to small if your colony's in smaller populated states. It's pretty difficult to be able to assimilate countries into others. Assimilate countries all around the world, cultures I mean to say, except if you're in the Simulation Nation mod. It should be easier to assimilate cultures. Alright, then the next thing is, easy to form democracies. Now, a lot of countries in the game are democracies, technically. Like, the UK is a HM's government. That's a democracy. We have elections every few years. But it's not a true democracy like America. America is an actual democracy where you have no control over the election. In HM's government, you can actually change the results of the election if the political party that got in power is not someone you want. I want democracy to actually be formable in the game. Because in normal games, you can't form democracies normally. Like, I can't take the UK, for example, and do, like, some reforms and, then all of a sudden I'm an actual democracy. No, in order to become a democracy, I think you need to have a couple revolutions where, like, Russia, for example, I think you had to have, like, become, like, some sort of dictatorship, and you had, I think it was Jacobin rebels had to take over, and then they can force the democracy on you or something like that. It's, like, so complicated. I should be able to just, become a democracy just by doing some reforms or whatever. There's no reason why countries can't be a democracy on their own or when you want to be. It shouldn't be, you gotta do all this bullshit, revolutions, all that crap. Fuck that. Alright. Next one was remove the jingoism requirement. Don't make it where you have to have like 7% of your population support jingoism in order to add a war goal. And this is being removable in Vicky3 mods already. Just make it so if you want to add a war goal, just let you do it. And then if you can't achieve the war goal or whatever, that's your fault for not doing good in the war. But you should be able to add all the war goals you want. No jingoism bullshit. It's fucking aggravating having to keep dealing with that crap. Especially when the jingoism pop-ups when you call elections never pops up at the times when you need to. Alright, and I'm still going by my 2019 video because I'm not done yet. Next one is cores need to be much easier to get. Like, you don't really get cores in the game unless you get a whole bunch of pops of your culture into states, and then an event will just pop up where you get it. I want cores to be able to be easier to get, or maybe do like in EU4 where you can form a spy network and fabricate a core claim on a province. That would be kind of cool. And another thing too is cores need to be losable. Like I said in my video, I'm probably better off doing it here. Let's say, well, maybe not that example. That'd probably be a terrible example. Here we go. What about this Mexican-American War? Let's say I play America and I take over all of Mexico, all of the continent of the U.S. from Mexico. The Mexico should eventually have a time limit where if they don't take the states back, they're gonna lose them. And in order for them to get back, they have to like fabricate claims on them again. And it should be easier to get claims because literally in the entire game, I believe Mexico would, for example, have claims on all of these states here permanently in the game. So they can go to war with America anytime they please to get it back, even though it's been like 100 years or so when they lost it. To me, it's ridiculous. You should be able to lose your cores if you don't have actual control over that state after some time. And not like 150 years like in EU4. Maybe after a few years or so. Alright, next up. Let's see. Next one was, this is the final one in my video from 2019 is, I want to be able to have a causability that lets you take over one province. Not like, for example, let's say I want to take over Texas as America. Why can't I have the option instead of like taking over all of Texas or whatever? What if I want to just take one province or something like that? Like in EU4, you can literally just take provinces instead of like a full state. Here in Victoria 2, you cannot do that unless that one prov is a state or it's a section of a state that you don't already have. I want to be able to take over provs too instead of just outright full states. Alright. So that was it for all of the stuff that I said in my 2019 video. Now, here is all the stuff I forgot to add in my 2019 video that I want that I'm going to add right here now. Let me go find it again. Alright. Like I said, I had 50 once that I want Victoria free. Now we're going from 17 to 50. First off, I want the game to actually tell us why a country won't join a war with us. Like, let's see. I don't know of a country I could. I'm trying to think of a country I could just attack right now. Hey, I know, the Netherlands. Since the Netherlands has cores on Belgium. Alright, let's go there. Declare war. Ask allies. Okay, well, it's saying right there, like, Prussia and Luxembourg will accept. But when it says they're not going to accept, I want to specifically say, why are they not accepting, and what can I do to fix it so they will accept? This is one thing, I hate to say it, but EU4 is better than Victoria 2 Act. In EU4, it actually will tell you, like, a modifier of why a country is accepting or not. Victoria 2 does not do that, and I want to actually say, this is why we're not going to join the war, and this is what you can do to fix it so we can join your war. I want to actually say that so I can fix it. Like, for example, it actually shows you if you want to ally a country like Russia, form alliance. We will not accept. Why? There you go. -1,000 negative relationships. It needs to tell you why they're not letting you accept your war request to join war, and then tell you how to fix it. Another thing next is, factories should not take too long to build. Like, depending on the factory, some factories take a year to 2 years to build. Factories should not take that long. Especially a 2-year one. Either make them like 1 year or something a lot less. None of that, oh, it's going to take 2 years for the factories to build. So stupid. Next one is, generals should not give you military points. Like, as you see right here. Like, look at that. Leaders, that's the modifier for Netherlands points. Netherlands has 26 military points. 11 of them, almost half of them are from generals. Each general that you have that can support an army gains 1 military point. So, let's see, I got 11 generals. I have 13 brigades right now, so if I build 2 more generals, I can gain 2 more military power, but after that, I can't get any more points out of them. Generals should not get any points whatsoever. They should not provide any points whatsoever. It is so easy for me to just build a few generals, and I can become a secondary or possibly great power just like that. Just like spamming prestige tech. Generals are not that vital to a war that, oh, we're going to give you a whole point for it. No. Either they should be cut in half in terms of points, or better yet, just don't give any points at all. I don't think generals should give you any points whatsoever. Alright, next one. I already said this. Land army should give you points. What I said about navy should be debuffed. Here's another one. In Victoria 2, they're called puppets instead of vassals like in EU4, but you should be able to make your own vassals. Now, what I mean by is, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it as the Netherlands. Let me go back to the UK, since they have more territory. Like, for example, like I can release all these countries right here, but they have all their cores when they when you release them. I want to be where you can strictly make your own vassal, like in EU4, like client states, where you can release a country, give them their capital, and then you can release the states, the provinces that you specifically want them to have. You can make the country exactly how you want. Not this, oh, Ireland, you get all of Ireland if I release you. No, if I release the island state, okay, you get some of these, but not all of them. Like that. I should be able to make vassals however I want them to be. Like their borders, their names, everything. Like in EU4. Also, some that's in EU4 Victoria 2 does not have. We should be allowed to annex our vassals sometime in the future. Because in Victoria 2, other than certain like events and decisions you could do, you cannot annex vassals once you release them or force them onto countries. You can't annex them, and I don't like that. I should be able to annex them sometime in the future if I want. Alright, let's see my next one. Gotta zoom down. Alright, next one is... This one is probably weird, but I want to be able to rename countries. Like, I want to rename countries if I want to. Like the game has USA as America's name. What if I don't like that? What if I want to rename it the United States of America, or something like that? I should be able to rename a country on the tab on here. Like in Ages of... History 2, which used to be called Ages of Civilization 2, you can actually rename your country anytime you want, however you want, anything like that. I want to be able to rename my countries and not have to be going through the mods in order to do it. It should be able to just rename right on the game. Next up, this one is not in Victoria 2, but I would like it if there was a map node that actually showed like literacy ranks, like civilization rank, like it would show like, maybe that's not the best one. Where's great power one? Here we go, ranking. Like it shows like who's the great powers, secondary powers, uncivilized, stuff like that. I wish it would have a node, a map node for who's more literate and who's not. I would really think that's cool. That's something I really like, especially since literacy is a very important thing in the game. Alright, so then number 25. Allow making, editing, or influencing political parties in the game. Where, like for example, like the Troy party right now, the reactionary party that I have in the UK. They're always going to be protectionist, state capitalist, moralist, residency, and jingoism. Why can't we have the ability to maybe use some sort of mana points or whatever to change their ideology to something else? Or why can't we influence them to change their ideology to something else that we want? Or why can't we be able to make our own political parties in game however we want? Name them, pick our ideology, pick our policies, because that's what historically people have done when they form political parties and movements. They would make their own and decide their ideologies and all that. I want to be able to do that. Not where I have to go in to edit the files and all that. I want it to be right down the game. Hey, I want to make this part. I want to name it this. This is the ideology I want them to be. This is the policies I want them to support. All that. If people want to be stuck with liberal, conservative, reactionary, socialist, communist, fascist, anarcho-liberal for the entire game, but have just change the policies or whatever, why can't they? We should be able to make our own parties and influence or edit the ones that are in power. Okay, now we've passed the halfway mark. Now to go into the next half. I want the infamy to be edited. I want it to be more like aggressive expansion in EU4. Like in Victoria 2, infamy, for example, it affects every country in the world. So everyone, once I hit like 25 infamy, everyone in the world's going to have a containment cause of value on me. I want to be more like in EU4 where it's regional. So let's say if I beat the crap out of, let's say I'm playing Prussia and I just beat the crap out of France and Russia and took a whole bunch of stuff from them. Okay, now if Europe got mad at me for doing that, that makes sense since they're in Europe. But like Africa, Asia, the Americas, they should not be offended at all because it doesn't affect them. I want it to be where it's regional based. That way I can beat the crap out of Europe as Prussia, form Germany or whatever, and then I can say, I don't know, maybe form colonies in Africa and Asia, and then when they get pissed off, I can maybe go back to Europe who's calmed down, or maybe go fuck with America until they're pissed off, and then I can go back to Europe, Africa, and Asia when they're calmed down and take more stuff from them. Whereas with the infamy mod, it's the same everywhere. I can't do anything. I want to be more regional based. And I remember I brought that up with people when I played Victoria 2 MPs before, and they thought that would be a really good idea at Paradox, so please do that. Next, colonization should be more like EU4 in terms of province taken. Like, instead of being like, ooh, I'm colonizing all of West Morocco in one go, or, Mauritania, Inner Mediterranean. I want to be like like one province each, basically. Where if I colonize something, it just colonizes one at a time. Maybe have like colonists, like an EU4 or something like that, to speed up a little bit, since that'll be kind of slow to do one at a time, but... And they probably would have to speed it up, like the speed of it, because, God, in EU4, colonizing usually takes, like, a couple years or so. Scramble usually is over, like, in 10 years, so they had to speed up. But you get what I'm saying. I want to be, like, one province each. That way you can maybe make unique borders instead of being just the same border areas, means states over and over and over again, producing the same damn shapes. Alright, next up is, I want there needs to be white peace options when a war is just stuck. I've had many times in my games, especially in my Vuvuzuela HFM playthrough I did back in 2019, I believe it was, where near the end of the game, we had a world war, and the game for like 10 years, the war was stuck, because no side could make advancements. No one could advance. when it's to the point in the game where it's been a few years and neither country can advance because they're too strong to kill each other, the game should just automatically have like a white peace option where, hey, we can't advance, no one can do anything, let's just end the war and just go on with our shit. I'm tired of wars being stuck and no one can do anything and no one is going to surrender because they think they can still win somehow, even though it's very obvious they can't win. Make it up. Well, I don't know about a requirement, but at least make it a possibility to wipe peace out wars that no one is going to be able to win. Alright, and that's another thing too about AI. I want the AI to surrender more soon when the odds are so overwhelmingly in favor. Like I remember a few nights ago on the Blood and Iron mod, I'm doing a game as Uruguay and I formed Rio de la Plata. I fought the British to take the Falkland Islands away from them. The Falkland Islands, to take the Falkland Islands was just 2 war score. Just 2. 2 points it took to take the Falkland Islands. I racked up over 50 points in war score. And you know what? The British still wouldn't surrender. It had to take several months of waiting and waiting and waiting before they finally gave up. I want to be where if you hit the war requirement or maybe double the war requirement, I want the AI, or actually not just the AI, everyone on the losing side to start suffering some sort of massive like war exhaustion penalty or whatever just to get them to surrender. When you're that, like when I have 2 war score, when my war score requirement is just 2 and I have 50 war points, points on you, you need to just surrender. It's so obvious I won. Give up. So that's what it needs to be. They just give up sooner instead of just sitting around waiting and waiting. And also it reminds me too of my Ottoman Empire playthrough I did last year when I was losing one of the world wars. Like everyone on my side was occupied, including me, except the British, but they would not surrender even though it was so obvious we lost. They need to just surrender instead of making it worse for us. And next one, this is something from Hoi 4 and on the Solar Light mod, but I really want it to be where maybe like later on in the game once World War's discovered, I want it to be where we can conquer all countries all at once. Like all of France conquered. All of Japan conquered. None is, you gotta, if they're uncivilized, you gotta knock them down to 4 free states first, then you could conquer in one go. Or if they're states, you gotta, knock them all the way down to 1 state left, leaving them only their capital, then you can conquer them. No. No. We should be able to conquer a whole country in one go, just like that. And that way, too, you can do the actual world conquest, which you can't do in Victoria 2, mostly because the game just is too short. 100 years is just not enough time to take over the world. And trust me, I've tried numerous times with my games where I go over the infamy limit. It just takes too long in 100 years. It needs to be where you can just conquer countries like that. And the Solar Light mod does allow you to take over countries right off the bat. Maybe that's a little bit too soon, but you should be able to take over countries all in one go, for God's sake. And another thing too, I didn't add it on here, but I'm going to add it right now since I just thought off the top of my head. You should be able to take over capitals. Because in Victoria 2, you cannot take over capitals. Like, say, for example, like Prussia. Let's say if I wanted to take over all of France and focus my entire game on just taking over all of France. Guess what? This province where Paris is in, I would not be able to take this over until this is the only province of France remain. So that means I would take over all of this, each war, except this province right here. This little teeny tiny blob of free provinces right here in the middle of France, I would have to leave alone because, they're the capital. You can't take over the capital. Fuck that bullshit. If I want to take over the capital province, I should be able to. And there is mods that do allow that. So we should be able to take over the capitals anytime we want. And also, we should be able to change our capitals to wherever we want. What if I want to put my capital somewhere else for whatever reason whatsoever? EU4 allows this. It should be possible on this game too as a decision to be able to do. Change your capital to whatever province you want. So I just wanted to add it in because I completely forgot to add in my notes and I just remembered. Alright, continuing on. Next up is allow conquest of big nations. I kind of already said this with my allow total conquest, but I don't like it where It's mostly for like uncivilized countries in particular, where, like I said, in order to conquer a whole uncivilized country, you have to knock them down to like 4 or less states. Like example, Korea. Korea. You can take over all of Korea in one war as long as they're uncivilized, so there are 4 states. But if they had an extra state, oh no, you can't take them over. Korea, I could take you over in one go right now, but if you add Manchurian laws, oh no, I can't do that. We should be able to take over a country, especially if they're uncivilized, no matter how big they are. Just let us do it. And same goes for allowing puppeting countries that are big. We should be able to puppet a country no matter how big it are, because in the game, I think it was a country can't be no bigger than 3 states in order to puppet. So like Korea, they're too big to puppet right now, but if I took a state from them and then demanded to puppet them, then they would be puppetable. Because I'm tired of, it's more about I'm getting events where countries like rebel on me and seize the asset, seize the means of production on me, and I get the free Cazabelli to puppet them. But since most of the times countries are so damn big, I can't even use it. So why even give me the Cazabelli if I can't even use it? If I want to make a country, no matter how big a puppet, I should be able to. And that is historical too. Countries of this massive size like Russia have been turned to puppets. Come on! Let us be able to make any country of any size a puppet if we want to. Alright, this one is on Hoi 4 and EU 4, and I want on Victoria 2. I want to be where you can make like an army composition template like that. Like, I don't want to be where, you gotta make each individual army. So if I want to make my 4-1-5 stacks, I gotta make, 4 infantry, 4 artillery, 1 engineer, which I can't build yet, 1 cavalry. I have to do each one automatically individually, then I have to wait for them to merge in a province and then split them up. I want to be where I can build, I want to build a stack of 4 infantry, 5 artillery, 1 cavalry, right then and there. I want it to be automatically made for me. That's something I can do in EU4, even though admittedly I don't use it that much, but I want in Victoria 2, please. I'm tired of having to reorganize my army because I have to do it manually. Alright, and this is another one, when National Focus, same thing. I want National Focus to be more automatic. And what I mean by is, I am tired later in the game when I have like all National Focuses, and after I do a big, gigantic war, I have to reuse all my National Focuses on all my states in order to give them the 4% soldiers because I lost so many troops in war. I'm tired of doing it manually, pausing it, and repausing it just to do all that crap. I want to be where there's an option where, hey, I can press a button and it will automate it to place all my National Focuses on every single province to like soldier pops to about 4%. Once that province hits 4%, it goes, if the game finds the next province of mine that has closest to 4%, and then it'll try and max it out, and so on and so on. And then once it runs out of states that have 4% soldiers or less, I can then tell the game, okay, focus on this now. I want it to be automated so it just does it automatically. Once it hits like 2% clergy in a state, go to the next one automatically, and so on. I'm tired of doing it manually. It's getting annoying, especially with the soldiers later on in the war. Still going on, not done yet. Another thing is, I want uncivs to be able to catch up in terms of tech. And what I mean by is, it's more about like very, very, very small states, like countries that have a very difficult time to civilize. Like really small like countries that are surprisingly still around in the game, where even if I civilize them as fast as possible and go for like all the like research bonus tech and all that, I'll be lucky if I can get even like half of all the tech in the game. I want it to be where, like, at the end of the game, like, usually, like, America, UK, Germany, in my experience, usually have, like, almost all the tech several years ahead before the game ends and stuff like that. I want to be all the countries can easily catch up to, like, almost max out all their tech at the end of the game, even when they civilize, like, in the 1900s, something like that. I want them to be able to catch up that quickly. Because it's a massive handicap where you can't even really fight your wars or anything because you take that long to civilize. Another thing, this is something that's annoying. This one's not as bad in EU4, but this is really, really bad in Victoria 2. I want it to be where when you're fighting a war, or particularly, this is more of if you're not the war leader and you can't dictate the terms yourself. I want it to be where before a war ends, I want to be the war leader pauses the game, shows us what they want to end the war, and I want them to show us exactly what terms they're going to go with, and then we can decide to either agree with it or disagree with it. And then if we disagree with it, the war leader has like a choice to maybe continue the war or peace out and get what they want. But then we have the option to continue on going to get our war goals if our war leader does not give that. For example, like this one, like really annoyed me off the top of my head. I remember in my I did a game as Japan. I think it was on the Sir Light mod, and I was fighting a great war with, I think it was Germany as my ally, and I think it was Russia and France against us, and Germany, believe it or not, got their asses kicked, and they got completely occupied. Now, I was holding my own against Russia. I was beating the crap out of Russia in Europe and holding off any French invasion if they came. But since Germany got beaten and the war score got so high on France and Russia to demand stuff from Germany, I ended up losing the war because Germany got destroyed. That should not happen, especially in great wars. If I'm fighting still and doing just fine on my own end, Germany, you peace out. But I want to keep fighting. I should not be like capitulated because you got your ass kicked and I'm doing just fine. Let me continue the war until I get what I want, and if I lose, oh well, and if I win, good for me. But let me continue the war until whatever happens. And likewise, when a country wants to peace out, I want them to announce it before they do it, and I want them to show me the terms of the peace that we're going to get, so that way I can know for not if I don't get fucked over. And that way, if I am going to get fucked over, I can disagree with it and tell them not to send it. And then if they do want to do it anyway, I can keep the war going and get what I want. I'm tired of the war leader and stuff. I'm going to get to that later on too, about and stuff. But I'm tired of them piecing out and leaving me high to dry. And I can't like fight to continue on the war to get what I want. I have to get pieced out and everything like that. I'm tired of it and I want to stop. Alright, so the next one is, oh yeah, here's the one too I was just mentioning. Don't allow AIs in war to add war goals that are impossible to achieve. And what I mean by is, don't let the AI add, because remember, in all the games, at least in Victoria 2 and EU4, you can't go over 100 war score. So even if you beat the absolute shit out of someone, you can't go over 100 war score requirement. If you add enough war goals where it's over 100%, 100 points, you can't get them. Now, the problem is that the AI is so stupid and they don't think this stuff through that they will just casually add war goals on top of stuff they want to add that puts them well over like 200 points. Hell, even 300 points. I've seen war goals that want 300 points worth of stuff when they don't even have 100 points. They're straight up just hurting themselves and hurting me too if I'm in their wars. I want it to be where the AI looks at the score first. Like for example, let's say if I want to conquer a country, that's 85 points normally. I don't want it to be where the AI goes, oh, let's add humiliate Kazabali. Oh, what? Oh, wait. That's 50 points, which means our war score is 135, which means even if we get 100 points, we can't add both. Oh well, I'll just take the humiliate and fuck over my allies so they can't conquer the country. I want it to be where, okay, we can't make this war score requirement because we're gonna have not enough score. We're gonna not be in. It's gonna be too high of a war score to achieve. So let's not add that on. So I want it to be where they're smart about it. If we can't add it on and get even at 100 points, don't add it. Or better yet, maybe just get rid of the 100 point requirement. If I want to completely fuck over and completely destroy a country, like game break them anytime I want to, why can't I? And that includes conquering them. Alright, next up on the list, I already mentioned this too on my list. I want countries to have like leaders and like personality traits. It looked like they already have that in the game, so I could probably scratch that out, at least for right now. Another thing, this is really weird. In my experience, if I have slavery it doesn't seem like I actually have slaves. Like, it's, in my experience, countries that have slavery that actually have slave pops are like America and Brazil. I want to be where if you have slavery legal, like, even if a country has no slavery to begin the game, I want to be where if I legalize slavery, slaves start popping up. Like, it never, ever, 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 ever seems to have slaves whatsoever, even if you allow it. So, start allowing slave pops to start showing up when you allow slavery. And then the next one is, I want to be where it shows the country's full name no matter how small they are. This is the case in EU4, but not in Victoria 2. For example, like the one, that's probably not a good idea. Trying to think of a good example. Trying to think of one. Trying to look around. Because it's very obvious in EU4, but not as much on here, believe it or not. But what it would show is, it would show the name of a country no matter how small they are. Like, it would show, like, Hawaii, for example. Like, if Hawaii in EU4, if a country had a Hawaii, it would actually say Hawaii or whatever the name of the country is that occupies it if I'm zoomed in close enough. But it doesn't say that there are countries in Victoria 2 that are so small. I want to be where it shows the name of the country no matter how big, no matter how small they are in-game. Like Saxony. I want to say Saxony when I zoom in a little bit. I want to actually say the name of the country over. Hey, Netherlands is a good option. Example, it doesn't say Netherlands at all. Hell, even if I take over all of Belgium and Luxembourg somehow, I don't even think it says Netherlands' name still on there. I want to be where it actually says the name of the country over on top of the stuff. And then, this is in Victoria 2, but it's not as cool as in EU4. Like, when a country conquers a region, like, so you see Ottoman Empire, but you see Ottoman Asia, which makes no sense. It's just connected, so it should not say it. But you see Ottoman Africa, like British South Africa. Like, I want it to be, like, dynamic names of areas that actually say stuff. Like, instead of, like, it being, like, Ottoman Africa, it would probably say, like, Ottoman Tripoli, Ottoman Libya, or something like that. If I took over, like, down here, it would probably say, like, I don't know, like maybe Ottoman Horn of Africa, Eastern Africa, and such like that. Like if I took over, I don't know, maybe like Korea, maybe it would say like Korea, and if I expand more to Asia, it would be like Manchuria. Well, not Asia. If I went to Asia, it would be like Manchuria and stuff like that. I think anyone who's played EU4 knows exactly what I'm talking about. I want to have like dynamic names based upon the actual area you colonize, not just like generic. British South Africa. And then once I expand outward, it'll be British Africa. Like, if I could have literally 4 different provinces, like, I could have, like, a British colony, like, here, 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 and down here, like, all completely separate, and they're gonna all say, like, the exact same things. British Africa. Why not have it, like, British South Africa, British Congo, British Somalia, British Algeria, Niger, Chad, like whatever, even though Chad's not there, but you get what I'm saying. I want to have like dynamic names. I think that would be really cool. And then, finally, this last one, I want to be where maybe crises are reworked. So, I want to be where crises are more likely to pop up and not spend like years and decades not happen when you get to 100, tension, flashpoint. Because I've had it happen a lot to me, and I've actually talked to someone recently on one of my tutorials about the crisis where they had 100% for decades and no crisis broke out for them. I want to be where it's more likely to happen. Now, of course, that could probably cause problems in the future of crisis breaking out all the damn time to the point where it breaks the game or whatever, but crisis should be a little bit more easier to break out instead of it being like years and 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 nothing happens. Especially if you're trying to play like Greece. Like I've done a Greece before where I've tried to play them and I literally sit there for years and years and years and years and years with 100 flashpoint tensions and promises and they just don't break out. Alright, I'm worn out after talking all the time. Those are all 50 things I want to see in Victoria 3 and a Victoria 2 mod if possible. Upgrade factories with one button push. Militancy lowers when pops get what they want. Immigration national focus buff. Sphere rework. Navy nerf and shouldn't get so much score from navies. It should switch to the army. State should be easier to make. Battle score should go up to 100%. State religion should be changeable and religion should have some more importance to the game. Primary and accepted culture should be able to change, and promote and demote whatever we want. Assimilation should be easier. Democracy should be easy to form. Remove the jingoism requirement. Cores should be able to easily get and losable. Allow us to take over one province areas. Allows the game to tell us why allies won't help us out. Factories shouldn't take as long to build. Generals should get no points whatsoever. Land armies should get more points. Allow making custom vassals. Allow annexing vassals. Allow renaming your country. Have a literacy map node. Allow making political parties and influence in active political parties. Infamy needs to be more like aggressive expansion in EU4. Colonizing should be more like EU4, where it's one province instead of a whole entire state. Allow white pieces in wars that are impossible to end. Make AI suffer massive penalties when they have a lopsided war goal and make them surrender sooner. Allow countries to be completely conquered. Allow conquer of big nations. Allow pupping of big nations. Allow building army templates in one button. Allow automated national focuses. Allow uncivilized countries to catch up like that. Force the AI to show you the peace terms before they send it, and allow you to reject it and continue to fight on if you don't like it. Not allow the AI to add war goals that go over 100% war score, or get rid of the 100 limit completely. Allow allow leaders to have personalities and actually have leaders in the game, which I think we already said. Have actual slavery in states that have slavery. Allow special unique countries on map nodes when you take over areas, and maybe rework crises. And that's it. That's all I want in Victoria 2 for a mod, or Victoria 3. So can I please get them, please? That would make this game, and maybe Victoria 3, so good. So that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. And please, Paradox, please don't screw up Victoria 3. Don't make me have to rip you a new asshole after what you did to EU4. Please don't do that.